The yellow pillbox on the second shelf. Hola, today I'm taking you to a place where you never expected to find answers. The porch light's still on, it's always on. Even now in broad daylight. That faint yellow bulb glows like it's still waiting for someone to come home. But no one walks out. No one's walked out in months. Inside, the house feels paused. Not abandoned, just paused. The kind of pause that settles into the curtains, the chair cushion with the dent in the middle, the hallway clock that's been stopped at 4:12 p.m. since February 2nd. You hold her keys loosely in. Your hand not ready to use them. The front door's already unlocked. The living room smells like peppermint oil and the kind of powder they used to sprinkle under rugs in the 70s. Her slippers are still by the recliner. The television remote is under a crocheted doily. That's where she always left it. She had routines, systems, habits that made her feel safe. You step into the kitchen, and the first thing you notice is the yellow pillbox. It's on the second shelf, behind the jars of cinnamon and dried parsley. You reach for it slowly, like you're disturbing something sacred. It's still full. Monday through Sunday. Every compartment shut tight. But the Wednesday tab is chipped at the corner, the one she always had trouble opening. The pillbox is heavy. Heavier than you expect. Inside you find 2 softgel capsules, a pale orange one and a smaller clear one. No labels. No bottles. No instructions. You remember her voice. Always take these before bed, sweetheart. They work better when your body's quiet. You slide one into your palm. It smells faintly of citrus and something earthy, almost like fresh mushrooms. You think back, she used to say something about sleep and strength, how muscles heal in the night. You never paid attention then. There's a folder next to the coffee machine. Medical files. Most of it's routine cholesterol, blood pressure, the usual. But one page is missing. You can see the impression it left in the stack. A thin rectangular outline where something used to be. You press your finger against it, as if that might reveal what it once said. A post-it note curls at the edge of the folder. Barbara, nighttime protocol. Vit C plus M. Ask pharmacy next time. Barbara. You remember now. Barbara O'Neill, the woman from Australia with the calm voice and big white bards. Your sister used to watch her videos late at night, scribbling things into her notebook like it was church. Something about healing while you sleep. Something about not needing protein shakes if you had the right support. You walk to the bedroom. Her notebook's on the nightstand right next to the lavender spray and a dog-eared paperback she never finished. On the inside cover she wrote, "Vitamin C builds collagen. Magnesium relaxes the muscle fibers. Take both before bed. Strength doesn't sleep, it rebuilds." You sit down on the edge of her bed and stare at the handwriting. Every letter loops gently, like she was whispering it to herself as she wrote. Funny, no doctor ever mentioned that. Not in the hospital, not in the nursing visits. They talked about her age, her weight, her medications. But no one asked what she did before the problem started. No one asked about the yellow pillbox. You remember when you were kids how she used to eat one orange every night before brushing her teeth. Said it helped her sleep without twitching. Then in her 50s she added something she called sleepy muscle tea, chamomile, lemon balm, and a pinch of magnesium powder. Stirred with a wooden spoon she never washed, because she said the oils made it stronger each time. It wasn't science. It was something older than science. It was belief, and maybe belief is a kind of science if it works. You flip to the last page in the notebook. Just 3 words, written in capital letters. Wake up stronger. You close the notebook. The silence in the house hums a little now, like something is waiting to be remembered. Be careful, by the end of this story, you might never look at your health the same way again. So before we step into this forgotten moment, take a second to like the video and subscribe, but only if your heart has ever carried a memory your mind couldn't hold. And in the comments, share your city and age. Let's see how many of us still remember the yellow pillbox on the second shelf. Now take a deep breath, clear your mind, and let's unlock the stories that were never meant to be forgotten. You walk back to the kitchen, pillbox in hand, and for the first time in months you turn off the porch light. Not because she's coming back, but because maybe something else is. Muscles don't retire. The pillbox is in your coat pocket now. You carry it like a relic, like it might hum if you hold it long enough. You find yourself at her old church rummage sale, not really looking for anything, just walking. There's a breeze today that smells like wet wood and newspaper ink. You pass a crate of LPs, a half-broken clock radio, and a row of Reader's Digests bundled with twine. And then you see it. A folded clipping from the Daily Courier, 1973. The paper's brittle at the corners, but you recognize the smile before you even finish reading the headline. The nurse who taught seniors to get strong while they sleep. Her name was Mabel Carson. You never knew her personally, but your sister used to mention her in passing. That woman from Arizona, remember? The one with the calves of a ballerina at 62. The article is short. A photo shows Mabel in a cotton dress with sneakers on, standing next to a group of women doing slow squats by lamplight. The caption reads, "Mabel believes the body repairs best at rest." Her evening classes include magnesium foot soaks, vitamin C tonics, and what she calls bedside strength. You sit on the folding chair behind the rummage table, paper trembling slightly in your hands. She wasn't a celebrity. No talk shows. No book deal. Just a nurse with a method, a belief that sleep wasn't downtime but prime time. The article goes on. In Carson's program, seniors end the day with a warm magnesium soak, a tablespoon of acerola cherry syrup for vitamin C, and 5 minutes of controlled breathwork. Muscles don't retire, she says. They just wait to be remembered. You whisper the phrase to yourself. Muscles don't retire. She said the body listens while you sleep, that the nervous system doesn't stop healing just because the lights go out, and that vitamin C taken just before sleep doesn't just help the immune system, it kickstarts collagen production. Collagen, she said, is the quiet builder. It reminds you of something else. You reach into your bag and pull out your sister's notebook. Page 14. The margins are full of little stars and underlines. C at night equals repair. M relaxes equals deeper sleep equals repair continues. Don't eat sugar after 7, it blocks absorption. She wasn't inventing this on her own. She was stitching something back together. You remember the orange syrup your grandmother used to make. Boiled down peels with honey and a pinch of salt. Night syrup, she called it. Said it kept her knees from locking up in winter. Said it helped her sleep with fewer dreams. She took it with a handful of Epsom salt in her bathwater. Said the minerals went straight to her bones. None of this was in the hospital discharge papers. No mention of magnesium deficiency mimicking anxiety. No footnote on how low vitamin C levels make recovery from falls slower. But somehow Mabel knew. Your sister knew. Your grandmother knew. The next week, you visit the county library. You ask for microfilm records from 1970 to 1980. The librarian sighs softly. Most of the health columns from that decade were never digitized. Too outdated, she says. But you sit anyway. Scroll. Scan. There she is again, Mabel Carson. A faded photo, this time leading a group of men through chair stretches. The caption, "No matter your age, the body wants to heal. Give it what it's been waiting for." You wonder how many people came to her classes. How many went home and took their C&M, not because a doctor told them to, but because it worked. And how many stopped when the drugstore shelves got louder and the old ways got quieter. Some geriatricians, even now, insist magnesium does nothing for muscles unless you're deficient. But no one tests for that. And vitamin C? Most say you get enough from food. But enough for what? To not bleed? Or to rebuild what's breaking quietly night by night? You walk out of the library just before sunset. The sky is pink and soft. You can almost hear her voice. Again. Not Mabel's. Your sister's. Nighttime is not for sleeping. It's for restoring. Big difference. You stop by a health store on the way home. Buy a small bottle of magnesium citrate. A powdered C blend with rose hips. Not because the label says so. Not because it's trending. But because something in you deeper than memory says this matters. That night you place the yellow pillbox on your nightstand. You fill Monday and Tuesday. And for the first time in years you sleep through the night without waking once. Maybe it's nothing. Or maybe it's what your body has been asking for all along. The sound of oats in a tin can starts with a sound. A soft, dry clatter. You're in the attic now, sifting through a bin marked winter things, looking for anything that smells like her, your sister's scarf maybe, or that blue cardigan she always wore on Wednesdays. But instead you find a rusted tin can. The label's faded, but you can just make out the words. Rolled oats fortified with iron 1959. The lid is slightly bent, but when you open it the smell spills out. Earthy, familiar, warm. And just like that, you're back in your neighbor Evelyn's kitchen. She lived 2 houses down. Raised 3 boys alone after her husband passed in '68. Had silver hair she always wore pinned up, and wrists that smelled like rosewater and mothballs. You used to sit on the stool by the window while she stirred a pot on the stove, thick, creamy, and slow. Oats simmered in goat's milk, with a spoonful of gelatin stirred in right before it was. With that tin can in your lap, something clicks. You remember, every night before bed, Evelyn drank that oat tonic. A cup warm. Not hot. No sugar. Just the oats, the milk, a bit of gelatin. And here's the detail that sticks. A teaspoon of cod liver oil stirred in after cooling. She said it helped her knees, her memory, and kept the cramps away. You look it up later that evening. The cod liver oil, rich in vitamin D and A, a forgotten staple in many households before capsules took over. And gelatin? It's collagen before the marketing. The very same repair compound your sister scribbled about in her notebook. You wonder, how did they know? These women with no degrees, no studies, just instinct and repetition. When you visit Evelyn's daughter the next day, Mary, now 72 and still sharp as a tack, she remembers the routine like it happened last week. She'd start the oats just after Jeopardy. Stir slow, never rushed. Said you had to let the starch open up so it would speak to the muscles. You both laugh, but the truth hangs in the air. Mary shows you an old recipe card tucked in the back of her grandmother's cookbook. At the top it says, Night Strength Tonic, for aching legs and racing thoughts. Underneath, half a cup rolled oats, 1 cup goat's milk or almond, 1 teaspoon grass-fed gelatin, 1 teaspoon cod liver oil, added after cooling. Pinch of cinnamon or nutmeg, optional. Take 1 cup nightly before bed. Best if taken warm and slow. It's a rhythm, not a recipe. You try it that night. Stirring like Evelyn did, slow and clockwise, with the wooden spoon that somehow ended up in your sister's drawer. The steam fogs the window a little. Your hands move without thinking. And when you drink it, there's a warmth that goes deeper than your stomach. Somewhere in the back of your mind you hear it again. Old bones need glue. You sleep again without interruption. No hip tightness. No night cramps. Just quiet. But here's the strange part. The curious pattern. When you wake, your dreams feel clearer. Not just remembered, felt. You remember the smell of your father's car, the weight of your school books, the way your first dog used to circle the bed before curling up. And you remember something else. How Evelyn said the body stores repair instructions like recipes, and how they only get activated when we're still enough to listen. Some neurologists now say that sleep cleans the brain. That during REM, the brain flushes out toxins and reorganizes memory. But in Evelyn's time, no one called it glymphatic flow. They just called it rest. You ask Mary if she ever made the tonic after her mom passed. She nods once. When I broke my ankle at 63, healed twice as fast as they said I would. She looks down, brushing a crumb off her jeans. I stopped after a while. Pills are faster. No one simmers things anymore. No one simmers things anymore. You hold that for a moment. Like grief. Because it's not just about the oats or the cod liver oil. It's about what we lose when we forget how to wait. How to prepare. How to believe in slow healing. That night, you reach for the yellow pill box. The vitamin C and the magnesium go down first. Then the warm oat tonic. And just before your eyes close, you realize something. Your muscles don't hurt. But more than that, you feel steady. Like your body finally exhaled something it's been holding for years. And outside, somewhere beyond the bedroom window, the night feels just a little more alive. The man in the hallway clock. You drive north. No plan really. Just a need to move. The yellow pillbox sits beside you on the passenger seat, clicking softly with every bump in the road. The sky over Vermont is brittle and bright. The kind of cold sun that makes everything look sharper than it feels. You find the place just outside Brattleboro. Hollow Pines Assisted Living, though the sign out front is missing 2 letters. You've passed this building before. Gray bricks, low hedges, always one window with a stuffed animal in it. But today something draws you in. The woman at the front desk offers you coffee in a paper cup. No questions asked. Just a nod, like she knows some people come here looking for something they can't name. You walk the main hallway. Slowly, your shoes muffled against the thick blue carpet. On the wall, there's a clock stopped at 3:16 p.m. The second hand twitches, stuck in place. You stare at it longer than you should. A voice behind you. Clock stop here more than you'd expect. You turn. An older man, tall, gaunt, with a V sweatshirt that's seen 1,000 washes. He gestures to the bench across from the frozen clock. You sit. He introduces himself as Dr. Harold Lindsley, retired Army medic, geriatric specialist. Served in Korea. Worked in veterans' hospitals from 58 to 91. Not much they haven't. Made me watch, he says. You ask about the clock. They replaced the battery 5 times. Still stops there. Every time. Always 3:16. Don't think it matters. He chuckles, then pauses. Unless you believe in timing. I do. Timing of nutrients. Timing of sleep. Timing of decline. That last word settles heavy between you. He looks you over like he's measuring bone density with his eyes. Then he nods to the yellow pillbox in your coat pocket. You taking magnesium at night? You blink. Yes. Good. Better than 80% of the folks here. But if you're not pairing it with vitamin D, you're running on one wheel. He leans in. I ran a study in 1985. Small. Internal. Didn't publish, too controversial. But the pattern was clear. Patients with chronic vitamin D deficiency, even mild, showed cognitive fog, muscle weakness, and disrupted sleep cycles. Some were misdiagnosed with early dementia. You ask why it was controversial. Because the solution was too simple. Sunlight. Cod liver oil. A D3 tablet before bed. Hospitals couldn't patent the sun. Pharmaceutical reps weren't interested. He tells you about a protocol used at a recovery unit during the tail end of the Vietnam War. Soldiers with injuries that wouldn't heal, bone fractures, torn ligaments, deep fatigue. One nurse, forgotten now, used a nighttime stack. D3, magnesium, and deep breathing. Exercises before lights out. They healed faster, he says. But no one wrote it down. It was just practice. Quiet practice. He looks toward the window, squinting. We had a saying back then. Let the night do the lifting. Most people think sleep is passive. But if you give the body the right signals, the night shifts into repair mode. You're not just resting. You're rebuilding. You remember your sister again. How she used to roll her neck in slow circles before bed. How she'd sit by the window with her feet in a shallow basin of hot water. You always thought it was superstition. Now you wonder if it was instruction. He motions for you to follow him. Down a quieter hall. Into a small private library. He pulls a book from the shelf. It's not medical, it's a soldier's journal. Handwritten. Margins full of notes. One page catches your eye. D3 4000 EU nightly after chow. Paired with them. Increased strength in left leg. Doc thinks I'm imagining it. I know I'm not. Dr. Lindsley closes the book. No one wants to believe the body still wants to heal after 60. But it does. Every night. You just have to give it permission. He walks you back to the lobby. The hallway clock still reads 3:16. The second hand still trembles but won't move. He stops and looks at it. Strange, isn't it? That time doesn't pass the same way for all of us. Some of us are just waiting for the right hour to remember how to begin again. You thank him. He just nods gently, like you've joined something quiet and sacred. A lineage of those who believe in restoration. Driving home, you can't stop hearing his voice. Let the night do the lifting. You stop at a pharmacy. Buy a small bottle of vitamin D3, the kind with olive oil and no additives. That night, you place it next to the magnesium and vitamin C. You sit on the edge of your bed and breathe slow and full. 10 counts in, 10 counts out. And when you wake, there's a calm in your Shoulders you haven't felt in years. Not strength exactly. Not yet. But readiness. Like your body is finally on your side again. The clock may still be stuck, but something else, something deeper, has started moving. Barbara's shadow in the mirror. It's laundry day. The house is quiet. Not heavy, just soft. As if the rooms are listening. You fold towels on the living room couch, distracted by the old TV playing some talk show rerun from the 90s. The host is young, the audience claps too loud, and someone's selling something for memory loss. Again, you sigh and reach for the basket, but a folded pharmacy receipt slips out from between two hand towels. It's yellowed, curled at the edges. Your sister's name is printed at the top, along with a date from 4 years ago. Under notes, the pharmacist wrote, Barbara O'Neill, see lecture notes. Keep away from heat. Take 30 minutes before bed. You freeze, because that name, Barbara O'Neill, has been echoing in your mind for weeks. The notebook, the post-it, the whispers your sister muttered on tired nights when her joints locked up. You dig deeper into the laundry basket, past a tangle of unmatched socks and an old heating pad, and then at the very bottom a Bible, thick, leather-bound, familiar. You remember it always being nearby. She wasn't overly religious, but she read the Psalms like they were instructions, not poetry. Tucked inside, between the pages of Psalm 41 and 42, is a set of handwritten lecture notes. The title at the top, Nighttime Healing, Collagen C and the Repairing Rest. B. O'Neill. You sit down slowly, notebook in your lap, Bible on the armrest. The words are written in blue ink, each letter careful but fast, like she didn't want to miss a word. Vit C equals collagen. Scaffolding. M equals muscle calm. D equals cell receptor wake up. Take 30 minutes before sleep. Pair with silence. Avoid blue light. Healing is a cycle, not a command. People don't heal at night because they don't prepare for it. Collagen is not cosmetic. It's structural. Tendons, ligaments, gut wall, all rebuilt when asleep. You run your hand over the page like it might remember her touch. There's a smudge where her thumb must have rested too long. And in the margin, one line that feels heavier than the rest. Most forget. Muscles aren't made in the gym, they're repaired in the dark. That night, you watch one of Barbara's old lectures online. Her voice is calm, firm, almost motherly. She draws diagrams on a whiteboard with squeaky markers and speaks about repair as if it's a kind of prayer. Not aggressive, not forced, but invited. She talks about sleep as sacred, the hours between 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. as the golden zone for human repair, and how vitamin C before bed allows the body to do what it's already programmed to do. Knit tissues, clean damage, build resilience. Sleep, she says, isn't rest. It's work of the highest order. You remember how your sister used to dim all the lights by 8:30. No screens, no noise, just peppermint tea and the smell of castor oil. You used to tease her about it. She'd just smile and say, I'm not aging, I'm reweaving. You didn't understand what she meant. Until now. In the mirror, your reflection looks back with new eyes. The lines are still there. The sag in the jaw. But under it all, a different kind of weight. Not weariness, but intention. You whisper aloud, I'm not aging. I'm reweaving. And for the first time, you believe it. There's a medical chart tucked into the Bible too, a copy of your sister's nutrient test from years ago. All within normal range, yet in the corner, a handwritten note in her own script. Normal isn't always optimal. Feeling better, measuring better. You wonder how many others gave up too soon. How many believed weakness was inevitable, when it was just repair left unfinished. Sleep unprotected. A cycle never allowed to complete. The world moved too fast. And Barbara, like so many before her, was almost erased. Her ideas labeled fringe, her name pulled from conference rosters. But in living rooms, in handwritten notebooks, in pillboxes on second shelves, her voice lived on. You realize something else too. Your sister wasn't just trying to stay alive. She was practicing something. A quiet, nightly faith in the body's ability to begin again. You finish folding the laundry, slower now, letting your hands move with care. You find her scarf, the soft blue one, and drape it around your neck. It still smells like lavender and wood smoke. Before bed, you line up your new routine. Vitamin C buffered, gentle on the stomach. Magnesium powder in warm water stirred with that same old wooden spoon. Vitamin D3 under the tongue. Silence. No TV, no phone, just the sound of the house breathing. And when you finally lie down, there's no fear. Only a small private promise. To let the night rebuild what the day has worn down. To honor the muscle that isn't made of biceps, but of memory, forgiveness, and faith in forgotten rhythms. The porch light's still on. It's 4:47 a.m. You wake before the alarm, not startled, just gently returned. The house is hushed in that deep blue silence only known to early risers and old souls. Not even the birds have started yet. You sit up. Your joints don't resist you like they used to. Not today. For a long moment, you just sit on the edge of the bed. Hands folded in your lap, breathing. You don't know why you're up. But something told you to be. You make your way to the kitchen. The floor creaks in the same familiar places, near the stove just beneath the second window, where your sister used to stand every morning. Outside, the porch light is still on. You could have sworn you turned it off. But there it is, flickering faintly in the fog. You stare at it through the glass door. It's weak now, barely yellow, as if it's run its course but won't let go. You feel something heavy in your chest. Not sadness, something else. You open the drawer beneath the sink, and there they are. Still tucked in the back corner. Exactly where she used to keep them. 2 bottles. No label. Just a rubber band keeping them together, and a folded piece of notepaper with your sister's handwriting. These are not for strength. They're for healing. You unscrew the caps. One smells faintly of citrus buffered C. The other, faintly mineral powdered magnesium. And for a moment, it all comes rushing back. The yellow pillbox. The routine that no one prescribed. The repairs that happened quietly without fanfare, while the rest of the world slept. You fill the Tuesday slot. In the pillbox. Then Wednesday. Then Thursday. It feels like sewing something that's been torn, stitch by stitch. The kettle boils. You stir a spoonful of collagen into warm water, just like she did. Add a squeeze of lemon, a pinch of sea salt. The drink is simple, old, almost sacred. You walk back to the living room with the mug in your hand and sit in her chair, the one by the window still facing east. The sky is starting to break open, just a thread of light over the trees. And as you sip, you realize you're not trying to relive her life. You're trying to honor the part she never got to pass down. There's a note in the drawer of the side table. You've opened this drawer 100 times, but somehow tonight the note is there. Folded small and signed. Says only, the body remembers even when we forget. Sleep is not surrender. It's strategy. You lean back in the chair and close your eyes. The words echo not just in your mind, but in your bones. And somewhere deep within you feel it. Not strength, not youth, but readiness. Like your body is standing at the edge of something ancient. Something it has always known how to do. You think of Evelyn and her oat tonic. Of Mabel Carson with her chalky breathwork and warm magnesium soaks. Of Barbara's quiet insistence that sleep is sacred. Of your sister lighting the way without anyone realizing that's what she was doing. And now you, sitting in this chair, drinking from the same cup, waiting not for miracles but for memory. You turn to look out at the porch light. The sun is rising now and still it glows. Not gone, just not needed. Not right now. Maybe you'll turn it off. Or maybe you won't. Maybe someone else will see it years from now and wonder why it was still on. And maybe, just maybe, they'll go looking. You sip the last of your drink, set the mug down gently, and close the yellow pillbox. The house breathes again. You don't need to remember everything. Not the names, not the formulas, not even the exact steps. What matters is the rhythm you return to. The way your body softens when you let the night come. And without resistance. Healing was never loud. It didn't need a prescription pad. It needed presence. A warm drink, a breath held just a little longer, a quiet moment to listen to what your body has been whispering all along. Somewhere a chair still faces east. Somewhere, a note in a drawer waits to be found. And in homes across the country, from Florida's slow mornings to Oregon's Silver fog. There are hands placing 2 softgel capsules into pill boxes. Not out of fear, but out of faith. As maybe strength isn't what you lift. Maybe it's what you allow to be rebuilt. Let the night lift you. Let the forgotten ways hold you. Let yourself become quietly again and again. Maybe tonight the silence won't be empty. Maybe it's just waiting for someone to remember.